each week we'll have somebody different telling their story of how they've been saved miraculously. Every story is miraculous. Every testimony is amazing. So I'll be starting the first episode with me telling my story each time I will be hosting. And I just know that this is going to be amazing. And yeah, please subscribe and like, and you won't miss any amazing stories. So here we go. Let's get into my story. So I do want to start from the beginning because that's what the Lord I feel is guiding me to do. So sorry about the squeaky chair. So first of all, my childhood was pretty good, to be honest. Very early on, it was really good. My dad used to take me out a lot. He used to take me all around the northeast of England. I don't know whether he took me a little bit further than that, but it seemed to be all around the northeast area. He always had cars, and he would take me out and my friends out, and we would go all over the place, to be honest. Different beaches and different parks, and it was just really good memories. Really, really good memories, to be honest. I felt really at peace and happy. And then obviously I grew up in a bit of a messy household, let's put it that way. Not in the way of things lying around, but relationships. It was really difficult for a child to grow up like that. So my mum ended up leaving the home and got with somebody else. That really affected me. They got a little family going. I didn't feel really part of it. I felt alienated a bit. I wanted to be back, in that comfortable place, that peaceful place. But things were never the same after that. And I know many people who've gone through times where the parents have broke up and things. It's not easy. But at the same time, you grow older and you realise they couldn't have stayed together anyway. So you have to give and take a bit and realise that some things just don't work out and some things are not meant to be. But out of that whole relationship, I was born. So here I am, and I'm grateful for that. So yeah, I grew up with a lot of brothers. Obviously, my mum moved in with somebody else. They had a child. He already had 3 kids. My mum had me and my brother already, so there was like 6 of us in the end, 6 lads. And yeah, I felt like the black sheep. I did. I felt like I didn't have many friends. I had one main friend who he lived at my dad's. He lived next door but one, and we used to skateboard and stuff, and I used to love that. I used to love. I've got a skateboard now just behind me, and I've picked that up again since I've got my life on track with the Lord's help. So I used to like going out skateboarding and stuff, but while I was at school, I got bullied a lot. I was really withdrawn. I was really quiet and withdrawn, and just didn't really talk to anybody. I didn't really make any friends, and I guess I was going through a lot of pain on the inside. So the kids used to pick on me a lot. In every school after school after school. It's in one of my rhymes that I've just wrote. Like literally every school I got bullied and attacked and assaulted, and they used to call me things, and it used to be horrible. Like they used to just fling my food and stuff like that, and just it was horrendous. But they said I was bullying. It was me who was bullying, and so my mum came up to school and she seen them all like beating on me and that, and she just shouted like hit them. So I did, and then like his nose bust open and they all ran off. But I didn't like learn from that and learn that like most of these people, like the cowards, you know, like they're all just joining in because there's a group, and that like goes into your adult life as well. Like a lot of people who they just jump on the bandwagon and go along with the crowd, and most people aren't anything if you take away the little clique around them and stuff like that. But I didn't learn anything from that. I just kept getting bullied and not sticking up for myself or nothing, and I went to school after school after school, and it was just really, really difficult. Obviously skateboarding is, you're part of, like, you're not with the normal crowd skateboarding, but I still didn't even fit in with that crowd either. I didn't fit in with the skateboarding crowd, so I stopped doing that, and then I started wearing like different clothes and started listening to rave and stuff like that, and just wearing tracksuits, trying to wear like the dark tracksuits and stuff, and just looking like a rogue really. But that's when I picked up like a bit of musical talent, writing rhymes, and realised I could, after a while, I could write them, and I could write them quite good, and many, and about many different topics. But still, I didn't dare come out my shell with it. I was doing it around my closest friends, and then when we were all going to the youth club, everybody was spitting these rhymes and MCing and stuff, and I just, if I did get a go of the mic, I would say something that I thought everybody wanted to hear, and repeat it over and over again, like, when really I had a bag of tricks, an amazing set of rhymes. But I just never even came out my shell. Like, I was always withdrawn, and I think it led to me, obviously, not going in school because of the things that were happening. I did start like fighting back with people, and some people noticed and wanted to hang around with me, and I ended up with different thug type lads, thuggish type of people, and people who just fight and smoke cannabis and stuff like that. And then I ended up with a certain like just group of people, and we just didn't go to school. We just smoked cannabis and just started drinking alcohol. And I was very young. I must have been like 13 or something when that started. And then, I just got worse and worse. I just started using just more drugs. I started taking amphetamine, ecstasy, cocaine, just drinking more and more, taking different types of tablets. And like I said, I just got worse and worse until I ended up in young offenders in Castington, and then same thing there, withdrawn, didn't fit in with anybody, didn't help me, and then, but I didn't learn. I got out, I went straight back in. That happened 3 times in a row, and then I got out, I got into a new relationship, and then I didn't follow God. There was always just something. I knew there was something else though, the whole time. I just knew there was something else. But I was just lost. And I remembered through this time, I got tucked in the actual Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints when I was a toddler. I got tucked in there by my dad. And I remembered the feeling. I just remembered it. So later on, when I was getting lost, I was getting more and more lost in substances and in and out of prison, I remembered it. So I remembered the feeling. And when I used to see the missionaries, I used to stop them and I used to talk to them. And they used to try and guide me to not do a certain thing. They'd say, like, instead of buying these ecstasy tablets, why don't you go and buy a pizza with your girlfriend? And I'd like to say that I did do that, but I don't think I did, looking back. I think I chose the wrong path every time. Mostly every time. Definitely back when I was younger, I was very, very lost. I was always one night somebody jumped all over my head. I was winning a fight. I was now just thinking I was clever, and then somebody just jumps all over my head, his older brother, and breaks my jaw in 2 places. So that just made me even worse. I started carrying knives everywhere I went. I started being known for just carrying knives, but not like a tough person, just like a psycho or something, which wasn't a very nice thing. Like, girlfriends didn't want to be with me because in the end they were scared. To be honest, I was really bad. I was very, very lost, to be honest. So I was in and out of prison, and I was with this certain girl, and I stayed out for like 11 months, and then I burgled this person's house. I was I was like, I'm going to teach him a lesson. And because I felt like he'd took a liberty. So I burgled his house, I pinched his music equipment, the same type of music that I was now liking, and he also liked, and it was actually my uncle. Well, he's sort of like my nephew, which is all the family's just like, it's a crazy family tree. But so after 11 months of doing pretty well, like still drinking, still taking drugs, but not in crime, and that was to do with a new relationship. And then obviously I did that, so I went back to prison and I got 2 years. I'd done 13 months out of that. And when I was in prison, this is where like the Lord really he really was just there for me, and he's aware of us, and all we need to do is just call his name and knock, and he'll help us. So what happened was, I was in prison. I was just having a really, really hard time. I had the curtains shut. Every time they opened the door for a meal, I just kicked the door shut. The next meal, kicked the door shut. And I was just in darkness. Didn't matter what time of day it was. I was in darkness the whole time. Didn't matter what was going on the outside of the door, what was going on at home. I was just in sheer just hell, basically. So I stands up and I holds onto the sink, and my legs started like buckling. And I know it sounds pretty pathetic to some people, but what I had gone through up to that point, you wouldn't even believe. The type of suffering from an early age. Just not so much anybody doing anything to me. It was the pain of like family and just torn and everything, and all led up to that. And then now I was like in prison away from my partner, who was now like with other people, and just like moving on or whatever, or just lost, and I didn't even know what was really going on, to be honest. On the outside, I was just struggling, really struggling. And so I prayed anyway. I prayed, and because what happened was, the chaplain came round and gave me a stack of books every now and then. And then there was one book that it said, it was The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And so I read that, and I felt like my mind was starting to open a bit, to tell you the truth. But it wasn't enough, so I started reading books on Buddhism. And I started really my mind was opening to do with Buddhism and as well. And a Buddhist monk came in to see me. And we were talking about going to a monastery. When I got out, he was surprised at all the things I'd learned to do with his religion. I don't really call it a religion, but yeah. Anyway, I was still seeking. I held on to them things, but I was still seeking. So I was starting to read Christian autobiographies. I just want to say, Jesus Christ is the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and God is only one God, our Heavenly Father. I just want to say that. But these things I did go through before I came to Christ, and I held on to them for a bit. But when I was in this cell, I started praying. I was reading these autobiographies how these crazy men, gangsters, were just changed, and now they're evangelizing on the streets and stuff. And it's just like, wow, there must be something in this. And I remembered back being took in the church, but I couldn't seem to bring myself to read the Book of Mormon, so I was just reading the Holy Bible, and I was reading, but I was also meditating. And obviously there'd have been like meditation on the scriptures and stuff. It was a weird like situation I was in. I was trying to meditate in a Buddhist way, and then I was like reading scriptures and I was praying to God, but this whole thing was changing me. It was obviously helping me. And I know looking back now that it was God. It was God. So he heard me pray anyway. I prayed one time, and I was still suffering. I ended up just suffering again behind this door. And then the prison officer came to the door. He said, there's a list. Everybody's on it. Everybody wants this job, this recycling job and cleaning job. I'm giving it to you. You're not even on the list, but I'm giving it to you. You either say yes or no. Do you want the job? And I just thought, he said you'll be out early on the morning, your door will be opened, and it'll shut, later than everybody else. So, what do you want to do? He said, I'll open your door early in the morning. Come out or don't. Come to work or don't. So, I said okay. And then the lad next door, he talked to me every now and then. He read some of the books I'd read, and he'd just talk to me every now and then, and he said, you didn't want to really say yes there, did you? And I was like, no, not really, but I felt it was, when you just feel like, this could help me, like what else have I got, sort of thing. And I sort of like the idea of that, and something comes your way and it's like, yeah, that sounds like probably a good idea, but I'm scared because it's a new thing. Like, I'd got to the point where I wasn't eating, I wasn't talking to anybody, I was not really interacting with family outside. I was in pretty much turmoil, and then he offered me that. So, but anyway, I went out, I started working, changed everything. Everybody got sacked off the jobs because they were just sitting in their cells and they were just reading dirty magazines and smoking and just sat there and laughing. All of them got sacked and got a new workforce. The lad next to me, he got the job as well in the end. And then the prison officer, the screw, he was like, "You're the best workers I've ever had." And I knew that every time I felt I had an issue, I went into this closet in the prison where I was in charge of keeping all the clothes all folded up and everything. So I had my choice of clothes, which is a big thing. I would go in there and just pray. And nowhere of a lie, man. Like, looking back now, wow, it's just come back to me. Like, I wish I had that type of, relationship now. I do. But I mean, like, at that point, it was like, go in the closet, pray, comfort. Go in the closet, pray, comfort. Or sometimes we go, phone now, don't we slide, sliding up and down on TikTok. And it's like, whereas then it was just like, boom, straight in the closet, pray. I have got that relationship now, but it's like, it's built up to an even bigger relationship. It's like, so getting to that, I don't want to go on forever. I want to hit about the half an hour mark and leave it about there. So I comes out of prison, I gets released after like, I stopped smoking and everything. And like I say, looking back, I did keep seeing the Buddhist monk when I got out of prison. When I eventually said, I did go to his monastery a couple of times, but when I eventually said I'm going more towards Christianity, he just stopped talking to me, and that was it. But I was also going more towards being worse, like even more and more addicted to drugs. So So I was studying more, like, well, not studying, I'd say, like, I was watching videos on YouTube. I was listening to rappers and stuff, which were talked about God sometimes in their lyrics. So I was going more towards, like, faith. Well, not the idea of faith, the idea of Christ, but also just munching drugs to, like, deal with everything that went on while I was in prison. See, I came back into it. See, when you're in prison, you're like, oh, when I get out, it's all going to be rosy and perfect. Like, I'm getting out into, like, this paradise. I'm out. That's not the case. You get out, you're institutionalized. I wanted to be back on that wing where now I had my friends. I'd stopped smoking. But no, I'm now on my way home. They give me the same clothes that I went to court in the year before. And you can't just say, oh, somebody should have bought me some clothes, but, like, you can't just put it on everybody else and you'll put yourself in that position. So, but yeah, I'm on my way home and it's like, I've got some money. I bought a new tracksuit, trainers, a new phone. And then I was awake all night on drugs. And it's just a misery ride. It's an absolute misery ride, drugs in addiction. But so I comes out of there. I eventually get back with the same girl who I was with that 11 months. We had 2 kids. That changed me. I started dressing different, but in the background, still taking the drugs. My battery's gone, but so I was still taking the drugs, and it eventually got to the point where I was taking more and more tablets until I ended up with internal bleeding, and then but I was still watching, like, different preachers and stuff every now and then, but then Buddhism, and then different drugs, like psychedelic drugs. I was taking psychedelic drugs and mushrooms, like, and listening to Pink Floyd and trying to, like, I was into, like, spiritual stuff and New Age, really. That's what it is, really. But I just kept getting worse anyway. I eventually ended up on heroin and crack cocaine, and that went on for the next. Heroin went on for the next 10 years, and yeah, it was just horrendous. I ended up with sepsis, hepatitis C, abscesses all over my body, holes everywhere, blood clots in my lungs. Blood clots in my legs swelling up. Just horrendous stuff, getting jumped in the middle of the street, chucking it down with rain, midnight, losing your phone, one trainer walking off with blood everywhere, no one will take you in. Horrendous, man, waking up in bushes 6 o'clock in the morning and then going in the petrol station, just grabbing as much as you can and running out. Do you know, like, it's crazy. It was crazy. But God, He saved me. So I'm getting to that. And my phone's going to go dead. I'm sorry about that, guys, but it's probably about the time I wanted to do it for anyway. I don't want to keep people for too long. But so I got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And it went on for Christmas after Christmas after Christmas. I lost contact with my kids. I was just taking random people in. They were struggling as well. God bless them, and God bless my kids at that time. Like, it's hard, you can never get that time back. But as time went on, I would see the missionaries, and I started reading the scriptures again. I started sticking the Psalms around my room. I started trying to fight this thing. And now it was heroin, it was crack cocaine, it was alcohol, it was nicotine, it was pornography, it was injecting amphetamine, it was Valium, it was pregabapentin, it was Zopiclone, it was everything you can think of. Injecting MCAT and just flying around the room, and people are looking for the window and you're hanging out the window and you can't even catch your breath, and they're going, you'll be alright, and they're walking off thinking, he's a nutter, what's he doing? Like, people are seeing you in the street and you look off. You look like crazy. Somebody seen me one time and they said, when I seen you, it was scary. And that was somebody who was drug dealing. Like, they just horrendous. And the drug and alcohol worker said out of 60 clients, I was the worst. I'd been awake for like 5 days and I'm sat in front of them. And then my volume's kicking in while I'm talking to them and they're like, you're going to have to go, I can't have an appointment like that. And then I would go and smoke spice and then felt like I died. I thought I'd died. I literally thought I'd died. Just black room, it turned into no door. That was it. And I was stuck in there. And then I suddenly just woke up and didn't know where I was. I was grabbing hold of the person next to me going, where am I? Where am I? And I'd only just met him. And I went in his house. Already intoxicated. I was meant to be coming down a bit and then going in, like, shaping up a bit and then going back into my appointment. But I just went away and done that. And then when I went back to get my appointment, they denied my methadone, so that was it. Just went on a stealing spree. So it was just, like, that type of life is just, it's crazy. It's crazy, heroin addiction. They call it a heroin addiction. They say it's a life in itself. So in that 10 years, like, that was a life, basically. And anything after that is hard. You can go through hard things. I'm coming out of a hard marriage, you know. But yeah, I kept praying. I kept reading the scriptures, and I had this experience. I went in the shower. This was after years of being addicted. Like I say, 10 years. Well, actually, it was about 8 years at this point. I went in the shower, and it was only up until 6 months ago that the Lord really freed me of everything. I don't smoke cigarettes or anything. Don't watch pornography or take anything. I am on a methadone program. I'm reducing now from 90 mils down. I'm going below 70 now, so there's a long way to go, but I'm not taking any illicit drugs or anything. So, and that's all because of Jesus Christ. Honestly, it gave me the strength. So I went in the shower this one time and I'd been praying and I'd gone a few days because I'd run out of money. So I goes in the shower and the sun beamed through the window and I felt like the water was cleansing me, and I felt the Lord saying, my spirit, you're forgiven. I come out the shower and I'm crying. I'm saying, I don't deserve this. I'm turning away and then turning back into the light as it's beaming on me. I came out there, I flung the tobacco, stopped the fund, the Stop Smoking Clinic. I had problems after that, but I got married, I got baptised in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, received the Aaronic priesthood. You know, that the rest of these amazing things are coming. I eventually was able to go to the temple, and I just want to testify that I know that what has saved me is Jesus Christ. He saved me. What happened there was I just changed on the inside. It was like a light just came and just changed me. That was it. Ta-da! Done. But obviously, you still have trials after that. You can fall, but you're not the same. You can't sin like comfortably after that. After Christ's come in. So yeah, and now I'm at the point where obviously I can do this podcast. I'm writing rhymes. I'm going out. I'm testifying on the streets. I'm praying with people. The Lord it's gone full circle, and obviously I'm fighting to get my kids back, and I'm looking forward to settling down. And I'm going through divorce, but that was through just addiction and everything. I got married, but and then through addiction problems on both sides. It's just addiction's a killer, but you can make it out the other end if you put your faith in Jesus Christ. He is the way. After that experience, I've had multiple. With Jesus Christ, He is the way, the truth, and the life. Like I say, I studied many things, got involved in many things. The way out is Jesus Christ. He is the way out. Don't worry too much about what flavour. Yes, there is a true church. Jesus Christ is the head of it. But as long as you're following Jesus Christ, He'll show you that Himself. Just follow Jesus Christ. He is the way, the truth, and the life. And I say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Please watch out for the next episode. It'll be somebody totally different. I'll be hosting. So yeah, thank you so much for taking part and, well, listening to this. And yeah, I love you all. God loves you. Put your faith in Jesus Christ. You can overcome anything. Anything. Doesn't matter what it is. In the mighty name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.